and they just basically, so they make the money out of the CDs and books. That's where it's all.
Yeah, and basically, in order to progress up Scientology, they've got this thing called the bridge, and the further you get up the bridge, the more it costs. So yeah, basically, in order to progress, you have to pay money, and it's books, courses, something they have called auditing, which is kind of like sort of essentially their sort of counselling. But some of the auditing techniques are like very sort of strange. Like they sort of sit people down and sort of look at them in the eyes for like hours at a time without saying anything. And these are basically just ways to brainwash people. I remember watching something, it must have been about a good sort of 15, 20 years old, a French documentary, and it basically had this guy who was almost used as a guinea pig, as he described himself. He was sent over to America, and they just tried and tested all these different kind of brainwashing techniques on them, and the guy was a complete wreck.
Really?
He had no money. He was left absolutely financially ruined, and he was just so traumatised and screwed up from the experience. It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
So what type of money do they make, do you reckon?
Well, I mean, these guys, I think they're sort of struggling. I mean, they sort of put on a sort of, big fancy buildings and all this stuff. I mean, the thing is, like, if you get to, let's say, if you go into Scientology now and you sort of, start getting your way up, when you get to the top, you're not going to get any of that money. You're just going to be at the top. There's a guy who runs it called David Miscavige, who took over from L. Ron Hubbard, the science fiction writer, when he died. This guy actually has also been in the media recently because he's been beating his staff members, 22 different members, 50 different occasions. Beating, physical beating. And there's a book out at the moment called Blown for Good, and it describes how basically this guy had made all the guys in Scientology, like in his centre, David Miscavige, made them play musical chairs. So what happened was, and apparently to the music of Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a bit strange as well. And basically, he just said to them, look, we're going to play musical chairs. If you lose, you're going to be shipped off to one of the farthest corners of the earth, and you won't be able to see your family, and people are in floods of tears, and everyone, people who've been friends for years and years and years, properly.
How do they carry it on then? Why don't they shut it down, or is it just...
It's the thing is, partly, and also it hasn't cropped up, just overnight. At the end of the day, a lot of the activity that the church did, it went by largely unnoticed because A, they attacked their critics so fiercely, and B, because prior to the internet, whilst you could sort of meet someone in the street who could tell you something, it's a lot harder to spread the info around. And that's why we wear the masks, if you take one of the pamphlets, there's lots of good information there.
I've got one. That's really interesting.
Just educate yourself, guys.
No, I appreciate it.
If you look into both sides of the story and you still want to become a Scientologist at the end of it, then you go right ahead, mate. I'm not here to religiously persecute. I'm here to raise awareness about a very dangerous organisation.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. Have a nice day, guys. Scientology is a scam. It's designed to make money. Do not go in for one of their free tests. They will only tell you that you have problems, and the only solution is Scientology. Wow, that's good. Very sophisticated. Nobody wants to read your lies. Hey! Why don't members of the public support the Scientologists like that? Scientology breaks up families. The people offering you little pieces of paper are trying to recruit you into a brainwashing cult. Just say no, people. It's the simplest thing to do. Why not ask the Scientologists about their fair game policy, their disconnection policy, or why not ask them about Lisa McPherson? Why is the Australian government looking into Scientology for it forcing abortions on its members? Kidnapping, torture, murder. Do these sound like the things a religion should consist of? I don't think so. Scientology breaks up families. They only want your money, people. Beware of Scientology. They don't seem very interested in your pieces of paper. Why are we better at handing out leaflets than you? Have you not got leaflet tech?
Scientology was founded by a science fiction writer, quoted, saying, the best way to make $1 million would be to start your own religion. And then 2 years later, he founded Scientology. What a coincidence. Scientology is a dangerous organisation. I can tell you the results of that free stress test, mate. You would have had problems and Scientology would have been the solution. I just saved you an hour. Enjoy. Scientology breaks up families. It's a scam, it's a cult, it's Scientology. Why don't you ask him why several of its leaders in France have been sent to prison? These are the questions Scientology should be answering. Breaks up families, it's Scientology. They only want your money, guys. Why don't you come and have a word with us? Ask them about their disconnection policy. Operation Freakout, Operation Snow White. Why did Scientology try to infiltrate the United States government? It's an interesting question. Where is Scientology? You are now passing the cult of Scientology. Please exercise caution. KSW, guys, KSW. If you're interested in losing all your money, there's a shop across the street that will help you do it very nicely. It's called Dianetics and Scientology. Life Ruining Centre. Hey Martin, how's it going, man? You're my best friend in Scientology, Martin. I hope you know that, mate. The two gentlemen across the street are Scientologists. Why not ask them about their disconnection policy? Their fair game policy. Operation Freakout. Why not ask them about Lisa McPherson? Or why not ask them why the Australian government's going to launch an inquiry into such things like forcing its members to have abortions? It's a scam, it's a cult. It was fined over £500,000 for fraud the other month in France. Several of its high-ranking leaders have subsequently gone to jail. Does this sound like the actions of a legitimate organisation? Or something perhaps a little more sincere? Martin, what are you smiling at? Martin, have you ever been to www.ex-Scientologykids.com? Or a reference there with, people who have actually managed to get out of Scientology. They talk about the abuse, they talk about the beatings, they talk about how they were forced to live in terrible conditions. How come you don't put this on your posters? Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Scientology breaks up families, people. Feel free to ask why. These are the questions we should be asking. I'm not here to interbulate people, I'm just here to spread awareness. Don't judge me, Scientologists. I'm sure you're a good person at heart. I'd imagine that's why you got into Scientology. But like everyone who does, you're not aware of the truth, the full truth. Scientology breaks up families, people. Google Lisa McPherson. Find out how Scientology kept an innocent woman trapped in a room for 17 days. She died. The coroner found cutthroat stripes all over her body. And this is meant to be the wonders of Scientology? Scientology breaks up families. Doesn't it, sir? You know, you're a Scientologist. Yeah, I saw you looking at me. You're aware of their disconnection policy. Anyone who speaks out against the church, who's a member of it, if their family is against it, you will tell them to handle that person. If the person cannot be handled, you will tell that member to disconnect from their family. This has been going on for decades. It's not stopping. Have you lost anyone close to yourself, sir?
The guy who you spoke to, Sean Lonsdale.
That's who he was speaking to, right?
Yeah. There was Tommy Davis was the guy who lost it to. Yeah, Sean Lonsdale was found dead. Suicide after that was done.